Hey, welcome back. So to get the code where I'm at right now, you need to do a git checkout of version 0228. What I'm going to show you this lesson is kind of the problem we're facing if we're going to build a client-side setup. And just to follow up on the last video, I just want to prove to you that it really means a lot how much data you're actually passing back and forth when you start having a bigger system. Another thing I want to prove is that as a developer, you should consider the amount of data that will be passed by seeding it in your database just to test what will actually happen. Okay, so let's have a look at something here. This is the syllabus that I have right now. This is the setup I have, and everything runs fine. The speed is great. When I do a refresh here, it's like almost instant. I have my data. But what happens when I start adding more syllabuses? That's what we're going to look at now. I'm going to try to add 200 syllabuses. So I'm just commenting this in. And if you guys don't want to write this, that's fine. I'll add it for the next commit so you guys can pull it out there if you want to. But what we're doing is, remember that the seeding here, the seed.js file, is just JavaScript. So I'm just adding a for loop where I'm saying, well, add 200 now syllabuses instead of the single one. And just to make them kind of unique, I'm just adding the I in the end of the name here. So it'll be JS Web Apps 1, 2, 3, all the way. Let's actually make the first one 1, just to make it prettier. Okay, so I'm saving this, and now it should actually populate all of these syllabuses. Now I have 200. And again, let's refresh this and see that it actually runs. What just happened? What just happened, man? This is madness. Let me just try and restart my grunt. I think I crashed it. Let it just load. We'll just give it a second, because I just want to show you that now we have 200 syllabuses. And again, the load time wasn't terrible at all. It's hard to read here, so now we need to start doing the filtering. But what would happen if I had 500 syllabuses? I'm just going to change the code once more. 5,000. So let's just say that this was actually some kind of block where I'm just presenting all my syllabuses right away. And remember, the way I'm going to show you now is actually passing all the data to the server, from the server to the client before we show it. So now I'm saving it with 5,000 syllabuses. And we just have to wait here to see if it crashes again or if it actually passes this time. Let's just wait and see. Remember that it's trying to populate the 5,000 syllabuses right now, and if we look at the code, you'll see that when it's done, it's going to pop out with populated crazy lots of syllabuses, right? So it actually did do it for me. And where did I see that? Well, I just added that text down here when it was done populating all the many syllabuses I just made. And look at it, it's here. There's 5,000 syllabuses here. That's like crazy. We could start filtering that on the client side. But what actually happened? Let me try and refresh the page. And I'm going to keep this real time. I'm not going to fast forward because I want you guys to see the problem here. If you guys don't consider your data size that you're sending from the server to the client, something like this will happen. I'm not refreshing. I'm not doing anything right now. I'm just the Angular setup is trying to use my data, and there it is. That took a lot of time. And as a user, I would not accept that. That's way too slow. So as the data amount starts to go up, you should really consider if you want to do pagination, sorting and stuff like that, client side or server side. The 200, that's okay, but when we start having 5,000, then I think you should consider having the pagination on the server side instead. We'll get back to that later, maybe in this video setup or maybe a new one I'll build later. But that was just my point. Okay, so now we made all our beautiful syllabuses here. I'm just going to jump back to 200, and then in the next lesson we'll start making some filtering and some sorting to start showing you how to do that client side. And remember, the current setup will only be for a max of 200 syllabuses. That makes sense for me. I wouldn't get more than that. If I do, then oh, my server crashed again because I'm sending so much data. But if I would add a lot more than 200 syllabuses, if that would be the case, I would have to reconfigure my server. But 200 is fine. You saw that kind of was instant loading still, so I'm satisfied with that. See you in the next lesson where we'll start actually doing some filtering, sorting, and pagination. See you next time.